The thoughts, views, and opinions expressed by this podcast, as well as its hosts, are for entertainment purposes only. The viewpoints expressed, although based on very real topics, are not to be taken as fact. With that being said, enjoy the show.
Hello, world. Hello, world. Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast.
We back. I'm back.
Really?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hello, world. Welcome to Pardon the Politics podcast.
We back. I'm back. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Really? Pardon the Politics podcast. Hello, world, and welcome back to Pardon the Politics podcast, season 3, episode 27. I'm your co-host, brother Jeezy, along with my brother Mandy here with me. How you doing, brother?
Man, not too bad. How are you doing?
Hey, man. Hey, I appreciate you asking, brother. I can't call it, man. It's better to be seen and not
than
viewed. On the other side, we have none other than the chairman of Chaos himself, brother Chuck. How you doing on this fine day?
Good day, my good brothers. How are you today?
Switch it up.
Greetings and salutations.
Yes.
Salutations, my good sir.
Yes. Sweet brother Nimsey.
To our listeners, welcome to another episode of Pardon the Politics. Hopefully this episode finds you in the best space possible, and we thank you for returning to hear what we got to say again. And man, another week.
Sometimes I wonder, are they returning to hear what we have to say, or returning to say these fools that said what?
Yep.
But either way, keep coming back. We appreciate it.
Either way.
Thank you for visiting frequently.
That's right. We appreciate you.
So yeah, we thank you for coming and tuning back in with us, and we're gonna jump right into our first topic for today, which I believe is a continuation of our episode last week. We talked about the Supreme Court and a couple of decisions that were made, and they started off this past week wrapping up with a few more decisions that we wanted to bring to you that we thought were very interesting. Some could be considered as wins for some conservatives, while others it could be very frustrating. So we're going to break down 4 of the biggest cases that came out this past week and what they actually mean. So the first one we're going to talk about is Trump v. Barbara. And no, that's not the Barbara that Fabo was screaming about at
That's
the end.
the first thing that popped up. Barbara! Tag up!
A classic moment in time. And for those that weren't able to indulge in that when it first dropped, it came out, bro. You don't understand. History will never be able to recreate that moment of Tatted Up.
But little, I'm gonna say little known. It should be widely known now by those who are aware of what's going on. He was actually yelling out Barbara Bush.
Yes, he was.
I did not know
Barbara
that.
Bush. Yes.
Really? Yeah, he was. Yep. He was talking about Barbara Bush, bro.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what the Hillary was Hillary Clinton, like
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
Oprah.
Yeah. And I can't remember if he really gave an explanation of why he actually was shouting them out.
It's Fable. I'm starting to see spaceships on my head.
Whatever was in his system had him feeling it was necessary to shout out some prominent political women. But Trump v. Barbara centered around birthright citizenship. So I think this is probably one of the biggest headlines of the week in some of the cases that were decided by the Supreme Court. So the Supreme Court ruled 6-3 that President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship for children born in the United States to undocumented immigrants or temporary visa holders is unconstitutional. The court said that the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause still guarantees citizenship to almost everyone born on U.S. soil. Now, Chief Justice John Roberts wrote the majority opinion, relying heavily on the Constitution's text and court's long-standing precedents in United States versus Wong Kim Ark from 1898. So Trump obviously argued that the phrase subject to jurisdiction thereof shouldn't apply to people who are in the country illegally or temporarily. The majority rejected that interpretation. So this wasn't simply about immigration. This was about how much authority a president has to reinterpret constitutional rights through executive action. So the court essentially said that if the birthright citizenship is going to change, it cannot happen under the executive order. So, Chuck, I'll ask you this question. Do you think the court was protecting the Constitution here, or do you think they were preventing the executive branch from addressing a legitimate immigration issue that Congress hasn't solved yet?
My good brother, quite honestly, I think neither. To be honest with you. And the reason I say that is because although the ruling came down to, I think it was a 6-3
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Decision, Chief Justice Roberts kind of alluded to the fact that he only went this way based off of the previous precedent and reading the Constitution as to the letter of the law, which leads me to believe if it was addressed or presented in another fashion, he would have changed his vote. And in that, it disturbs me because the 14th Amendment, for those who lack the knowledge of history, was essentially put in place to combat the Dred Scott decision. What is the Dred Scott decision, you say? Well, this is a landmark decision that held that enslaved and free Black Americans were not citizens under the U.S. Constitution and could not sue in federal courts. Also, although not part of this conversation, but it deemed the Missouri Compromise unconstitutional, amongst other things. But that baffles me because what this really was about, they say it was about immigration. I don't believe so. And the reason I don't believe so, when we were talking about the Supreme Court decisions and I made the comment, Black people, pay attention to this ruling. The reason I left it as open-ended, but the reason I said that is because it was the framework and the groundwork to question or compromise our citizenship. Because if the 14th Amendment came about to repudiate the Dred Scott decision and you repeal the 14th Amendment, guess what that means, y'all?
But everyone's in question.
Enslaved and free Black Americans are not considered U.S. citizens under the U.S. Constitution. And for those other minorities, do you realize then that would set the framework and groundwork to question your citizenship? Now, I'm going to pull out my favorite card, the Black card.
Uh-oh.
And the reason I'm saying this is it's not about rage baiting, which is the kids' phrase these days, or race baiting or whatever, but truly understand when the Black community goes to fight against immorality, injustice. Although our face may be up front, it's not our fight alone. It's a fight that we take up to help everyone. When we open the door, we don't open the door and close it behind us and keep everybody else out. Everybody else gets to walk through that door.
Because
so in Clarence Thomas.
Where's that door? Yeah. Elevator out of service.
Break the lock. Lock it and break it. Excuse me. But I say all that, one, like I said, because no, it's not about fixing immigration. This was solely letter of the law for those who agreed. Well, not gonna say though, all of them. The conservative end who agreed.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was letter of law, as Chief Justice Roberts kind of alluded to in his point. We could see what the dissenting side said. Clarence Thomas, which
it's the exact sound he made.
I point him out because in his dissent, he mentions race and color.
Right.
My good brother Manny alluded to some of his comments before that he's been in contradiction against. Ignorance is not an excuse. Well, he's also stated that the law should be colorblind. But his dissenting argument was a direct contradiction.
Talking out of both sides of his neck at the same time.
That the law should be colorblind. And what I want to shout out Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, because she gave a scathing rebuke towards him for his dissenting argument. And I appreciate people calling other people out on their BS, especially on this level, on this as major of a situation as this is. This is not some little you can sue mom and pop stores, because there's some things that make it to the Supreme Court. Quite honestly, why are you wasting on people's time?
How did this get here?
How did this get here? But this is something that impacts everyone.
Yeah.
And although, yes, there is an immigration issue that Congress should have addressed a long time ago, and they continue to kick the can down the road as it gets. I ain't gonna say the immigration issue gets worse and worse. The response to the immigration issue gets worse and worse.
Gets worse, yeah.
And I forget what was you asking the first part of this. The executive power. Again, I don't think this was to address the executive power, because again, there's something that Congress has to do to set the law. The executive branch is not the lawmakers.
Mm-hmm.
They're the law executors.
We're not built to be run by executive order.
You say it all the time, brother. All the time. So that's why I say, give my response to that. But it's, although I appreciate it being upheld by the Supreme Court, the fashion, this should have been a 9-0 vote.
Right.
It should have been a unanimous vote.
Or at least 8-1. Because,
No, I'm saying you're right. You're right. But the reason I say it should have been a unanimous vote, guess what, guys? Y'all are U.S. citizens because you were born here.
Mm-hmm.
And in that, regardless of if your parents were American or not, Trump, you have children who had parents who were not born in the U.S. This quite potentially could have in the right circumstance, caused some issues for them. And I may mention this before, and it's funny that we're talking about this now and this ruling happened. Florin Balogun, U.S. striker, is a birthright citizen. And quite honestly, after hearing some of them other guys, Tillman, who made that amazing free kick, this is not a sports podcast, so I won't go too deep into that. But Listening to him talk, sound like he grew up in London too. He don't sound like watching some of their interviews talking about 4th of July and wearing the American kit. You notice the difference between the guys who were born and raised in America in their response and the guys who are American citizens by birthright. The guys who are American citizens by birthright talked about the honor of playing for the men's U.S. team. Those born in America and raised in America talked about the pride of playing for it, which is two drastically distinct approaches and looks at it. I'm prideful about where I'm from, what I do. I'm proud to be a North Carolinian. It's an honor for me to live in Georgia, but I'm proud to be a North Carolinian through and through. Mm-hmm. It's an honor for them to play for the men's U.S. team. Some of them wouldn't have played for anybody else because they weren't making the roster, and that's how they made the U.S. team. Now, Balogun, he's a different story. He's a beast. However, you see the difference. And in this, he for those who don't know, this is it's not going to be breaking news by the time you hear this podcast, but he was suspended. And it's my true and honest belief.
Oh, somebody got paid.
No. That call came in.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Donald J. Trump and his ego and his pride.
Yep.
Not here in the U.S.
Not here in the U.S. After the 4th of July, not 250. Oh, no.
Mm-hmm.
No. We not. If we lose, we losing with all our parts and not having an excuse as to we didn't have our best striker. That call came in, but that was for a birthright citizen, bro.
Bro, wild. The man that sit here and is like, birthright gotta go, made a call for a man.
Now this is all this is, in fact, Manny. Yes, sir.
Uh-oh.
We got to protect ourselves.
Yes, sir.
Got to protect ourselves. That call came in.
Yep.
Based off our theory.
Mm-hmm.
And
so he got to play.
He got to play. Figure it out. Because what happened within hours and the next day after the suspension
the
red card, they said, "Oh, there's no way for the U.S. to appeal it. There's no appeal process. You got to eat this, bro." And he got to.
There will be today. There will be today.
Not on my soul.
After I sold myself.
Facts.
But on this, I think you're right. Like, especially when you talk about things being on the forefront, and this, especially at the state that we're in, to allow by executive order the executive branch who doesn't have this power to then suddenly have the power to critique, update, change what a citizen is a power we've not given to the presidency. It sits in Congress for a reason. But you don't want that. No one wants that. So I agree with you. I didn't think that the court would overturn it, but I thought it would be a little bit higher than it was. At least I was hoping that it'd be higher than it was.
Yeah, that 6-3 margin, like I said, was a bit disheartening because 6-3 could easily flip the other way, especially after hearing Chief Justice Roberts' response. And it wasn't a resounding, it's only right that, it was like,
I'm doing this because I got to.
I'm doing this kind of, yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Or I'm not too, I don't know if I can live with the ramifications that come if I go to otherwise.
Mm-hmm.
So, at least the correct decision was made, but on what grounds was that decision made is can be a little shaky.
Well, Jason, just like you said, last week you had not Gorsuch, Kavanaugh's basically
Yeah.
say when they were ruling against the Fed, like, I'm not willing to risk the U.S. economy for this decision. So the
Yep.
court has shown, even in this session, times where they're like, I'm not going to destabilize by making this vote. Even if I agree with
Yeah.
that, I'm not going to destabilize here.
That's a perfect word.
Yep.
That's a perfect word.
Well, I think the next case that we have may be the most culturally uh, divisive decision the court released this term, and that is centered around West Virginia versus V.P.J. and Little versus Hecox, which is the ruling over transgender athletes. The court ruled that states may prohibit transgender girls and women from competing in girls and women's sports team. The majority concluded that Title IX allows schools and states to organize athletic competition based on biological sex, meaning these laws are permissible under federal law. Now, supporters argue this protects competitive fairness and opportunities for biological females. Opponents argue it excludes transgender athletes from participating fully in school activities and could increase discrimination. Now, this ruling doesn't end the broader debate over transgender rights. Instead, it narrows the question specifically to athletic competition. There's going to be even more litigation when it comes to involving bathrooms, locker rooms, healthcare, and other Title IX questions. So, before I ask you guys this question, also with this ruling came down, Melania made a rare appearance and had a statement to say. I don't know if those of you have read her book. I have not. But her
I was
number
going to
one.
say, what, is it? Is it the script based on the movie?
Bruh. But from her Melania book, her number one New York Times bestseller, on page 156, Melania says, as many of you may know, I fully support LGBTQIA plus community. But we must also ensure that our female athletes are protected and respected. And on that, she said the U.S. Supreme Court has now legally confirmed this opinion. Under the Title IX and the Equal Protection Clause of the 14th Amendment, may schools maintain women's and girls' sports for biological females? The answer is yes. We can support the rights of the LGBTQIA plus communities and also protect opportunities for female athletes. Respect everyone and keep girls' sports fair. Both ideals are essential. That is coming from the First Lady, Melania Trump. So, Chuck, I'll ask you this question. Actually, excuse me, I'll go to Manny on this. Sorry. Manny, where do you think the law should draw the line between protecting competitive fairness and protecting equal access for transgender students?
That's a great question. And I believe they're still trying to figure out where they're going to draw that line. Look, one of the things that I know that is linked with this case is North Carolina has a Fairness in Women's Sports Act as well. Mm-hmm. And when you read the pushback, like from the ACLU and other organizations like that, the biggest complaint that they have in there is the vagueness of the bill. And I think especially as cases get to the Supreme Court, people are looking to identify a precedent so they can then use that to reapply. So I think that's some of the politics linked with this as well. And that's on both sides. Let's get the Supreme Court on record with this is the precedent moving forward. I mean, it is going to take a mix of the science community, LGBTQ activists to kind of decide what is safe. You know, there's a reason why you don't have men competing in women's sports and vice versa. And I know they're drugs, and I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm expert into the physiology. Is that the word I think I'm going for? Physiology. Okay.
You read the Bible.
Close enough. Y'all know what I'm talking. There's differences. That's why we have people separated. And eventually, as rights improve, really helping define that line. Like, when can someone, compete in various levels? I think it will ultimately boil down to something like that. Now, the question that we now see ramping up in the shade of this billing is the Riley Gaines Act, a national bill ban that now with this ruling will give some momentum to that, to essentially take the decision making completely away from the states and putting it at the federal level. So we'll see.
I knew that this was one day going to be an issue that was going to have to be addressed when the movie Juwanna Mann came out. I knew we were going to have to do something about this. We were going to have to we had a chance then.
It was that moment.
We had a chance then to get the cart in front of this, and we just didn't, bro. I don't know where I truly stand on this because of to something that you said, Manny, the vagueness. Because if there isn't precedent set, then what typically happens? Abuse.
Yeah, I'm going to use this very open object, this very open case and clause, and I'm going to do it on something completely different with this.
Yeah, and what makes me say that is that I can't remember the swimmer, but you have the swimmer that was competing. Okay,
yeah,
was competing in men's swimming, and
was mediocre from mediocre from men's standards.
Was terrible. Made a transition, and now was knocking it out the park in women's swimming. Now, I'm not saying that transition necessarily was the case, but I question what was the nature of that. Because was it so that you could have a competitive advantage? Or was it simply based off the pretense of this transition that you were making in life? That's where that vagueness, to me, comes into play, where I see people using it. Or I believe there was a situation that happened at a high school where there was a gentleman that had claimed that he was transitioned and was a transgender female. And there was, the females felt uncomfortable in the locker room because they felt like instead of it being like, he was in there as a transgender woman, he was in there being a little inappropriate. How do you protect that in these spaces, but also protect rights? Because to me, in my opinion, to enforce the rights of another, if we don't have any precedents, are we abusing the rights of someone else?
Right. Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. And I think it's going to be the roughness of navigating that line that we'll have to get through. Because the other piece of this, if we look at it just from a sports standpoint, these hormone suppression drugs, we don't understand at this standpoint the impact on muscle development. Long term, whether you've already gone through puberty and then you started, well, your muscles have still had that. We don't know all the details. That's why I say it's going to take scientists, advocates in the community to really kind of help define what this line is that will be safe but fair.
I'll concede to my brother Chuck after this, but when you say science, though, most people don't want to bring that aspect into making this decision, because if you bring science into it, it
sounds more
science
definite.
says this. And we see on social media where there are debates on surrounding these rights and what has sparked from Title IX and other things, where science technically does not have room in a space in this room if we're going to make a clear decision on what is and what isn't. And if we're going to bring it in the room, then we have to acknowledge certain things that seem to be diminished when we talk about these rights and what is able to be done.
My good brothers.
Oh, man.
First and foremost, we want to rebuke separate but equal until it's time to put everybody in the pot together. We have women's sports we have men's sports for a reason. Simply put, my brother Manny talked about the science. Let's talk about the science and the physiological nature of human beings. Scientifically, physiologically, men are built stronger, heavier than women. And if you look at the Olympics, faster than women from the compositional makeup of the body. Denser bones, larger muscle mass. You have women's sports because they are generally smaller in nature, less muscle mass, bones, more flexibility. I was about to say more malleable, but it's not malleable. But the way the female body works, it functions differently than the males.
Mhm.
And this is so we separate them generally all the way up until sometime in middle school.
Yep.
Yeah.
Or right before middle school, because that's when the body really, to the point of hormones, starts making that physiological and scientific change with the releasing of higher levels of estrogen and testosterone and the different things that changes the compositional makeup of the body.
Mm-hmm.
Simple as that. There's no way you can argue that.
That
If you
is
try
the
to argue
science.
in that, you are a
God
liar,
help you.
because not only does it show right in front of you, but the science shows that. There's been ages of studies showing that, just understanding the body. When you took I don't know whatever y'all called it in your school, sex ed, they talked about the makeup of your body and the releasing of hormones and what it does to your body. So where does it make sense to allow someone who is trans to compete in that same space? And I'm glad you brought up Leah Thomas, because I was gonna speak on that. Just to give you some contextual information, Leah Thomas, competing on the male circuit, where's my numbers? I had them. Was ranked 32nd nationally in the 1650 freestyle, 65th. Yeah, you do math. Oh yeah, swimming is your lane.
Mm-hmm.
65th in the 500 freestyle and 554th in the 200 freestyle. Division 1 men's ranking in 2020, 2018, 2019 at I think this was Penn State.
Yep.
In 2022, Leah Thomas won the 500 women's national championship. Now, I will repeat to you, there is a chance for growth. There's a chance for advancement with training, all these things. But you went 65th nationally ranked to winning the national title. Now, people will try to throw out there, oh, well, Leah Thomas's best time in 2021 was still slower than the NCAA record. Time-wise, the best time for Leah Thomas was 4:33.24. The record 4:24.06. But when I tell you who that's held by, Katie Ledecky.
Katie Ledecky. Yep.
And if you know anything about swimming, Katie Ledecky is not just a monster. She's not human. She is a mermaid. If you ever watch Katie Ledecky swim,
bruh, throttling.
Beast. Another instance in the 200. And before I do this, I do want to add some context. Leah Thomas's best time competing with the men between 2017 and 2020 for the 500 was 4:18. Fantastic time. But drastic drop, 418 to 433. 200, another beast. So Leah Thomas's best time was 141.93. The world record, the NCAA women's record, 139.10. You know who holds that record? Missy Franklin. Another beast.
Generational
Generational talents. Yes. I say that to say these individuals, like Manny said, generational talents are not like everybody else. That's like trying to compare the average male athlete to Michael Phelps. Can't do it. He is Aquaman.
Yep.
In the human form. So I mentioned separate but equal. I am all for a men's, a women's, and a co-ed. Whoever wants to compete in this co-ed division, everybody can compete. You understand what's at stake. You understand the level of competition that you're going against, and it provides, not saying, oh, only trans individuals have to compete in this space. It's an open space for everybody. And we all can compete in this space and all function in this space to allow and give this opportunity to compete. And it can be on all levels. Manny brought up, Jeezy brought up Joanna Man. And it's funny to me because that he brought that up, because one of the arguments that people tried to make about the WNBA is they need to lower the rim and make it more entertaining so the women can dunk. Why are you trying to alter their sport?
Right.
For your appeasement. They want to play. They played on these goals. They have no problem with it being there.
Let them rock
again. A simple aspect to this is a co-ed division. This is my thinking. Whoever takes it up, cool. You give them the opportunity to still compete at a high level with high level athletes. And again, anybody can compete in this co-ed division because you understand the dynamics and the parameters that's set forth up against you.
Yeah.
That's my thought on it. I don't think they should be isolated and ostracized at competing. They should be given a chance to compete. But scientifically, physiologically, there is a difference. I'm not speaking on the societal constraints of a man's job, a woman's job, a man's duty, a woman's duty, like taking out the trash. Although I know quite a few homegirls who say they're ready to have a man to come take out the trash every day because they're tired of it. So,
Yeah, I think it'll be very interesting, because it's very broad. And if you're going to define these things, there are so many aspects of that Title IX that you have to address, because it's not just about competing. Again, it's about, you have bathrooms, locker rooms, even down to the healthcare. I mean,
infrastructure.
Yeah, it's a lot, and a lot of, I think really what the court did is, we're not ready to set this, so we're gonna just let the states continue to just try to navigate it, because we don't know where to draw the line.
We're gonna let the states figure it out, and whatever the majority of the states come to an agreement on, that's what we're gonna adopt nationally.
We'll use that at fact. Yeah, we'll use
that. I like the places. I like the places that have men's bathroom, women's bathroom, co-ed bathroom.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna tell you what. I was at a speakeasy in DC a while back, and I didn't know that it was the open bathroom where it didn't matter the gender.
Yeah.
And I went in there to relieve myself from having some nice beverages at the speakeasy, and I walked out and walked to the sink to wash my hands, and a chick was standing there, and I was like, "This was." Yeah,
Unexpected.
yeah, coming from North Carolina,
Yeah,
definitely not.
yeah.
But one thing that well, I completely agree with Chuck, and this is not to offend anybody, but it's always been a thought of mine when it comes to transgender. As I talk to the boys in pre-pod, I'm a big criminal mystery type of guy. And when I watch these shows like Forensic Files, for instance, I always think when it comes to, transgender individuals, the identity, because if let's say someone goes missing and we're looking, you tell me, oh, my friend's a female. Well, we found this, human remains, and when we test the bones, it says
It's
it's a
male.
man. So I always have thought, even in that, the complication of identifying that and bringing in science versus what we have people to identify as, and even how complex that could be as far as just searching for individuals that go missing. So this is something that is the line to draw is so difficult of where to set it, because there are implications on every single level of what that looks like, and how that even navigates life going forward with these things. So it'll be interesting, man.
Yeah.
So I think that another case that is very interesting to bring out, and this will shift from culture to that green dollar, which is money, and we know that in politics, nothing moves without that green dollar.
Money,
So
money.
the next case is the National Republican Senatorial Committee versus FEC. So this is centered around campaign funding. In a 6-3 ruling, the court struck down federal limits on how much political parties can spend in coordination with their own candidates. So previously, parties faced spending caps even when working directly with candidates. The majority ruled that those restrictions violated the First Amendment, saying that political parties should be free to coordinate political speech with the candidates they support. Now, supporters say political parties exist to support their candidates, and restricting those cooperation limits their political speech. But critics also argue more coordinated spending means more money flowing in the elections, and the wealthy donors and national parties can gain, even more influence. The decision will likely increase campaign spending, especially when you think about us heading into the midterm election. So, Manny, does protecting political speech outweigh concerns that money already has too much influence in our elections?
It's got so much influence. This is about to be so stupidly expensive,
Bruh.
And I say this strictly as someone from the state of North Carolina, with a major Senate race getting ready to happen. The amount of mail, phone calls, door knocks, it's going to be real reckless. But
they're almost on the level of them scam calls, bro.
Oh yeah,
Not almost.
Yeah.
It's
well,
there.
like in North Carolina, if you have a no soliciting sign in front of your house, people are supposed to turn away. There's an exception in that, and that is for political action.
Nasty.
So it's about to be real expensive everywhere, every election, stupid amounts of money. And like those limits help them be able to kind of keep some of this at bay. Now, the other, problem with this is that when you look at how much money floats around in these elections, I think the downside is it's going to concentrate more money up top. Because at least with the limits, I'm like, okay, well, I cannot help you anymore directly, but I can help this other candidate who's also in the district. I can help you, and if I help them, I'm helping you. And then after I max out there, I help this person to help. So I think down ballot, it's getting ready to get hurt. But you didn't really hear either side really argue too largely from a party infrastructure standpoint. So, however much money Dems want to throw into Texas behind Tellerico, here we go. It's going to be expensive. It's going to be expensive and harder for a lot of people. So,
yeah, man. You know, we've already seen in some of these races how much money has flowed in and how insane this amount of money just comes in. And like you said, Manny, the ones at the bottom are the ones that are going to suffer from this because it won't trickle down. It'll just beef up the ones that are at the top. It almost made me think of, man, and I'm sure there's regulation to prevent it, which if there isn't, it should be. But at this point, you might you might see an expensive Super Bowl ad for
most definitely. Oh no,
Bruh.
even
there should be regulation that shouldn't allow that. But if it isn't, that's wild, bro. To see a political ad
But
at the Super Bowl.
But think about what you could also see right now. You could see party apparatuses leveraging this to quench out uprisings in the movement. This whole Bernie Sanders, to the left movement. Okay, we're gonna get involved in these primaries and make sure. Now there are rules that help prevent that, but
yeah, man.
I was waiting to hear my brother's response on this, which I had an idea of the direction that he was going with his response, but the specifics and details, I was awaiting to hear his response because I value his opinion a lot in many different aspects, but more so because he's been in this space. He's campaigned and he did fundraisers. One of his most notable fundraising events, and I'll tell this because it was pretty awesome to me, is fundraising and his interaction with Richard Petty. And I was like, oh, that's dope. My brother is in this a dope space. I respect Richard Petty for what he did in NASCAR. I don't know him personally, so I can't speak to that aspect of his life. But to see my brother in that space and, moving and shaking, it was very dope to me. And I had not thought about the impact down ballot or downstream and how essentially this will choke off the lifeline for these individuals because, excuse me, these smaller races, these smaller districts, I would say rely on these caps, like you said, and I hadn't even thought about it in that aspect. But when they hit the limit for the top dogs, if I pour into this person and now they're doing a rally with the top dog,
yep,
I am able to divert some funds indirectly to help the top dog. But at the same time, it was helping the smaller candidate get exposure in arenas and areas, where they were not, because in these smaller districts, fundraising is not what it is in these larger areas. Just do the math. These smaller districts are generally of lower means from a financial aspect, and these are, I'll use this in political terms, the true working class individual who are just working to make sure they can make ends meet and feed their family. So appreciate that insight in that aspect, brother, because I hadn't even thought about that. My mind immediately went to the corruption. Immediately.
Oh, yeah.
First Timothy 6:10 popped in my head because it's just nastiness. Like, how can't we? There's been battles in Congress and arguments in DC for as far back as I can remember when I first started paying attention to politics and watching the news back in the 80s, early 90s, about campaign finance reform.
Yep.
This is not a new argument. And for y'all to say that there is no cap on the contribution from the parties, well, guess what? You just opened another avenue for me to move money around and play and finagle. Shoot, I told y'all before, Rick Jackson spent reportedly $100 million of his own money. You spending your own money, I don't have an issue completely with that. even though I still think there should be a cap there because it can open some other arguments. But it's your own money. But now
Do what you
it
want.
also says, oh, he can couple his $100 million with this $40 million from the Georgia GOP and the RNC, overall, and it's nasty. I don't trust anything where there is not a checks and balance in regards to large sums of money in a general aspect. Again, if it's your own money and what you're doing with your own personal money, doing your personal time, I'm out your way.
See, Chuck, and you took this one, and when you brought up corruption, I thought you were going, because I agree with what you said. I thought you were going the direction of, hey, I'm a wealthy individual. I have an eternal. I have a federal limit of how much I personally can give you. So I give you $5,400, and then I go to the party and say, hey, here's $1.8 million. Go ahead and route that to the candidate.
Oh, that too. That all of that. When I say corruption, every aspect that you can think of, all of it, because when there's no cap, they're called loopholes for a reason, and people look for them and find them for a reason. And there was one that you just pointed out there. When I can directly contribute to you, but the loophole is now I can throw a bucket of windfall to the party and let them distribute it to you. But you know who it came from, an anonymous donor. Wink, wink.
This was surprising, man, because you already have seen that this was an issue to begin with. And now you decide to take the cap off to just let it be endless. Like, to me, that is just, I mean, it's already been a problem. I mean, it's not the first time we've talked about how these
being a problem.
Like, we've talked about how this campaign funding and even like to the point you made, Chuck, the loopholes that have been exploited with the cap. Now without the cap on at all. Without the cap on, bro, it's full. Hey, you talking about loopholes? It's full finger waves at this point. The do rag is off. The cap is off, baby. It's full waves. The flow is gonna be crazy, man, and it's sad because it's not going to have that trickle down effect. It's going to be complete nasty work. To Manny's point, even the fact that if you want to bury a candidate, bury a movement, the amount of funds can be endless in how you are able to target and hush some of those movements, some of those candidates who cannot. You see some people that are true grassroots, right? That if they ain't beating the ground, they're not getting it.
Yep.
They can beat the ground until they dead. If you with this, you're done. You're done. So, I was very surprised at this, especially given the circumstance of how tricky and how nasty the workaround campaign funding can get as is. But there was another blow too, speaking of elections that took place. And this one I thought was very interesting because this is something that Donald Trump has complained about a lot of, which I never understood because it benefits them to a degree, and that is Watson v. Republican National Committee, and this is centered around, mail-in ballots. The court ruled 5-4 that states may count mail-in ballots received after Election Day as long as they are postmarked by Election Day. Now, this doesn't require every state to do it. Instead, it confirms states have the constitutional authority to adopt that rule if they choose. Now, supporters say that voters shouldn't lose their vote because of postal delays. And if someone votes on time, their ballot should be counted. But opponents argue that Election Day should actually mean Election Day, which is wild in itself but that's another discussion. And that delayed ballot counting can reduce public confidence in election results, which that is also another thing, because people wouldn't question it or lose their confidence if you weren't attacking that every single time you got a chance to. But regardless, once again, the court emphasized state flexibility rather than imposing one national standard. So, Chuck, should election day be a hard deadline for receiving ballots, or is the postmark enough if the voter mailed it on time?
You know, when this first became an issue and Trump spoke out about it, I think the time frame was maybe a month or two.
Mm-hmm.
And he sent in the mail-in ballot, the
Right.
absentee ballot, to cast his vote. Because guess what? He was in D.C.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's not registered in D.C. He's registered in Florida.
Hey, he said he the president though, bro. He said, "Hey, look, I was busy doing work. I was away doing.
I'm good. Y'all go vote. Y'all go figure it out.
I'm gonna use my mail-in ballot, but y'all,
But y'all, this is a good old do as I say, don't do as I do.
bruh, not as I do, bruh.
But no, it should not just be election day is election day. And I think I've mentioned on here, I love election day. The energy of election day, the pomp and circumstance of election day. We've done election day broadcasts just because how we feel about it. But I could mail my ballot in a week before election day, and we know how the Postal Service operates. It can get there 2 weeks after election day is over. Mm-hmm. In fact, here in Atlanta, there was a big to-do, and it's still an issue now, where the Postmaster General up in D.C. was forced to get involved because it was a large delay in mail getting routed. And my grandmother sent me something from North Carolina. She asked me for a month and a half had I received it. A month and a half. This is the God's honest truth. And at first, we thought it was lost in the mail. One random, I think it was, I don't even remember what day of the week it was, but a random day I went to go check the mail.
Probably like a Tuesday.
I was like a Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday is the most random. I feel like the most random day of the week.
I go check the mail, bro, and what my grandmother sent me was in the mail.
Wow.
And I called her. She was like, "Are you serious? I thought it was lost." I did too. So how are you punishing people who are mailing in, and if it's postmarked by election day, count it?
Yep.
Yes.
If I remember,
go ahead.
I was just gonna say this one point. If I remember correctly, this is the same president during his first administration, I want to say, that was attacking the U.S. Postal Service and was making it harder for them.
Oh yeah,
to even circulate mail. I think they were taking up boxes and so even in the access of you wanting to send a mail-in ballot, on top of the fact of how difficult and just chaotic the Postal Service can be, this president was attacking that in the first place.
And let's not talk about the cuts.
I was going to say financially they're worse now.
Yeah.
Understaffing, and so again, the fact that they tried to attack this and hinder this, it blows my mind. Let the people. There's several, and there were some exceptions, military and something else. I can't remember what the other exception is. But there's many different reasons why people may not be at their home district and able to vote there and still want to uphold their civic duty of voting. Why are we taking this away from them? It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense. But I am glad that it was upheld. I am not shocked that it was that narrow, though. That's what I was just about to say. This is opposite for me for the birthright citizenship, because I actually thought this one was going to be overturned. I truly did. So for it to be upheld was a pleasant surprise, but I I'm not shocked by the narrow vote of 5-4 for this one. Not even the least bit.
Yeah.
Brother Manny?
I mean, I'm also glad it got upheld, but I don't know.
It's one of those
common
things,
sense.
man.
It's common sense stuff that they're making difficult.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have to be this hard. It's simple. It needs to be postmarked by election day. If it's not because if it's postmarked by election day, guess what that means? If I was home, I would have went and voted.
Yep.
If it's postmarked before election day, if I was home and there's early voting, I would have had the opportunity to early vote.
And here's, I think, my thing. I've said it before. We vote a lot as a United States of America.
Yes, sir.
We vote a whole lot. So getting people out to vote is hard. But like, remember, this election cycle for 2024, we still only had probably about 65% of the country actually turn out to vote.
Mm-hmm.
So if anything, we need to make it easier to get more people involved. But a couple other moves that I think would help people out if Election Day was a national holiday.
Yes.
If it was a weekend, span it over multiple days. Like, if you're going to take in mail-in ballots, okay, but what is the trade-off? How are we going to make this easier? Is there what exception cases are we want to do this? Like, fine, if you want to have a discussion about getting rid of this, the discussion, and we see it all with a lot of stuff, it's like, hey, we need to get rid of this. Cool. What are we going to do about everyone who is currently dependent on this? They'll figure it out. No, we got to stop running government like this.
Bruh, it is the prototype of what we do. No backup. Just take it. We'll figure it out.
I've been upfront about my view on abortion. I hate abortion. But do I feel like we are anywhere close to having any level of infrastructure for us to be prepared for what that decision means? Not only taking care of those lives now from on there. No, like we got to think more.
Think it through.
Wow.
Yeah.
There we go. I was trying to find a philosophical way to say that, but I'm like, no, we really just got to think through decisions here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Although we're not talking. Although we're not talking about abortion, that's a very valid point to solidify this. What are the risk cause analysis?
Yeah.
We're taking this away. What are the results of taking this away, and how do we address those results? And one thing that I do not want to hear is, oh, we could make an app for that. I don't trust you.
Absolutely not.
I do not trust you at all. And I know people talked about J. Cole putting it in the song. At least give me an app to allocate where I can do this. No, I don't. I don't trust it. I don't trust it.
Well, Manny, you said something about thinking, and before Chuck said that, it sparked something in me, and I said, I know I've heard that thinking before, and it was from the great minister that came out of Blues Clues Baptist Church, and I believe he said that think, brother, because when you use your mind,
what can happen?
It take a step at a time.
What can you do?
We can do anything that we want to do.
Oh man,
the great minister from Blues Clues Baptist,
Steve.
Yes, sir, brother.
Bishop Steve.
Bishop Steve left us with a word, brother, that would transcend time. But man, y'all are 100% right, man. And Chuck made a great point too, and as Manny as well. Not surprised by the narrowness of this decision, and of course, this pissed off Donnie T to no other limit, because one thing between the birthright, citizenship, and the mail-in ballots,
bro, he was hot.
They tore his whole 4th of July weekend up.
And for somebody who loves foreigners, and send in mail-in ballots.
Bro, that should really truly be if people would realize, bro, when somebody tell you one thing but show you another.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if anybody ever gave y'all this advice, but when they show you who they are, believe them the first time. If a snake tell you and say, hiss, I'm a bear, I'm a bird, but he's slithering on the ground. Brother, you a snake. I don't care what you say.
No, he said, hiss.
Hiss.
I'm a bird.
Why do you say, oh, well, okay. Nice. Hey, bird, nice to meet you. Bro, what? It's a snake.
Right.
Trump tell you all these things. All these things he's used that apply to him, but don't want to apply to the American people. And Manny has took this stance for a long time. And I remember in our first few times of having political conversations, that one thing that stood out to me was that making the election day a national holiday, doing something.
I like that.
I love it because most times the realization for the American people is what, bro, I got to either go on my lunch break or I get off at 5 o'clock and I got to run down there to the ballot and I got to try to get through line. I've already been working hard, or either I'm looking at the clock. So now I got to forfeit. If I do it at lunch, I got to forfeit eating to go cast the ballot.
Hey, you know what happens after going back to work and you ain't ate nothing?
Oh, bro, peeved. You pissed because you done sat in that line, and don't let it be hot. Oh, and I believe now there's certain legislation that now you can't even have no water, can't nobody give you nothing.
Can't nobody hand out nothing to you.
So you can't get nothing handed out to you. So then that done took that out. So then if I got to go after work, then that means that if you're a family, you got to pick the kids up. Now you're sitting in kids, and the worst thing to do is having to vote with your kids, young kids in line with you, because they want a sticker too. They want a paper too, and don't know what they. Don't know what they voting for.
And that's where these people got it messed up, because they come talk to my child. I'm gonna let my child talk to them.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
Look, I'm gonna tell you quick.
Made a grave mistake.
These are the people who on the ballot. Give me that paper. Give me that paper so I can let her think that she voting. Here, yeah, baby. You go ahead and here's a pencil. Make your choices while I vote. But that's a realization of most people. And if you're doing it at the end of the day, you're not the only one. There's a boatload of people in the same position you are in. So you already have these, these obstacles you have to overcome to vote. And now you're hearing, okay, there's one more thing that they're trying to take away to make it even more difficult. Why not make it easy? It's something that it should be a joy for us to do, is to go cast that ballot. I enjoy going to cast the ballot, but I can see for many Americans how, bro, this is so ridiculous. This is so over the top. This is so stressful. This is so anxiety inducing just to do something so simple as cast my vote. So
and
make
do
it a
that
national
and
holiday.
do that every year.
Yes,
or
and
every other
multiple
year.
times a year.
Multiple times. Yeah, don't have a runoff.
Oh, bro. Man, so you say to take something away off of a system that's already difficult to do in the first place. Why not just make it easy, make it a weekend? I love that aspect, man, of making it a weekend. You got 3 days. Man, I can go to church, and after church, I can go cast my vote. Like,
but we know why.
Easy.
We know why.
Yeah. And my thing is the attack. Go ahead, Chuck. I'm sorry.
No, you go ahead, brother, because you finish up. You're making a very great point.
It's the attack and Trump's whole thing of, mail-in ballots, and if we don't know the day of it, sir, just because you want the polls to close at 8 and you want to know before you go to bed at night if you want or not, it ain't that easy. To me, integrity comes from you doing the job correctly, accurately, and not rushing. My grandma used to always tell me, boy, don't rush to do what you got to do. Make sure you do it right, so you do it. You've done it one time and one time only. You want to rush the vote. To me, that's when you lose integrity. Because if you tell me that you got 200,000 ballots to count, and then the polls close at 8 o'clock, and you tell me at 9 o'clock, oh, we done counted the winners here. I'm like, wait a minute, how y'all get through all them votes?
Well, who counted?
Who counted?
But let's also remember there's a certification process with all of this.
Yeah.
Like, even if they announce it on election night, it still has to be certified. So let's let it get through the process.
Bro, why do we want this rush microwave process? I personally I like crock pot meals.
Ooh, my brother.
Look, I don't need a hot pocket. I don't need a hot pocket. I don't need a little 2 minute meat coffin. Give me, give me a crock pot meal, bro.
Yeah, look, I want something that's gonna hold me. That crock pot meal gonna do it. That
Yes,
little
sir.
hot pocket, just a little snack, little appetizer.
Hey, look. So yeah, let the election take its course. I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah,
That's part of it. You know,
that's
even down to the
patriotism.
yes, bro. Perfect, Chuck.
Yeah.
Patriotism, bro. Hey man, Trump, just chill out, bro.
But what
Just
I
chill
was
out.
gonna say is, we know why they're not gonna do that, because then that allows people to mobilize. It
Access.
allows people to gather up and truly get out and vote. And now I can reach people. It's the weekend. Now I can truly gather together. I'm willing to bet people would be more apt to volunteer and get out and truly do grassroots work when they're not up against the decision of, do I have to go to work? Do I have time to call out of work? Because now that most companies, we'll give you up to 2 hours to go vote. 2 hours? I got to get there, go vote, get back to work. No. But if we had, like you said, a national holiday, a weekend, and this is time off, and we can, man, yeah.
You would actually get more voters, bro. Like you would bring the excitement of voting back.
Very exciting. Very
Like,
exciting.
You could really make it into something, bro. Even if you wanted to take it, you could make it if you really wanted people to feel good. It could be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
Friday, nobody works. It's election day. You would drive the turnout through the roof. But when you got to make it so difficult, it's like pulling teeth just to even get there. It ain't gonna happen, man. And when you got somebody wanting to get rid of an aspect of it that makes it, somewhat easier for those that aren't able to get to where they need to get to make their vote, you're just making it worse. And I believe that from the numbers, Republicans benefit heavily from mail-in ballots.
Yeah.
So if you cut that out, what does that do for you and your party?
And and as we're throwing around ideas and aspects of this, if we were to make it a national holiday or a weekend thing, like you said, I like the Friday, Saturday, Sunday notion, with Friday being the national holiday, nobody's working. Then I would be in alignment with reducing the number of early voting days. Yeah. Because now I have a expanded period of time where I can cast my vote and alleviated the obligation of making that decision between work and voting. We can reduce it to a few days or a weekend for early voting, and then the national election holiday weekend.
Yep. And if you really want to get the nostalgia going, you get those Pizza Hut personal pan pizza coupons back out that we used to get for reading the book.
And some TCBY coupons. Yes, sir.
Hey, I'm coming out the house for that.
I'm bringing the whole game.
Hey, look, let me tell you. Hey, America, if y'all wanna
we
drive
were a proper people.
Yep.
Bruh, if you want to drive election numbers up, bruh, call party
Pizza
politics,
Hut,
bro. We got you.
Pizza Hut personal pan pizza.
Bruh, and that personal pan be slapping too, bruh.
So fire. My Lord.
One topping. Perfect amount of cheese.
What?
Nice butter and flaky crisp.
Bro, yes, that'd be the best 6 pepperonis you ever had in your life.
And the 6 don't even be evened out on the slices. You might get one slice with 3. One slice got 2, one got 1, and one ain't got nothing but cheese, bro. But it's good. Hey, bro, I might go get me some personal pan pizza for dinner tonight, bro. Yeah, the whole
Oh,
family. We sit
man.
on the living room floor, Indian style. Like everybody had a
is.
prepared pizza.
Nah, I can't do that. Nah, I ain't gonna be able to get up.
Hey,
Mm.
hey, look, bro.
This lubrication in these joints on these bones ain't the same.
Hey, man. Sometimes you
Mama,
got to sacrifice for the nostalgia, brother.
look, what the oil commercial say? The viscosity breakdown.
Bro. Well, brother, I'm reminded of a church song that told me if he had to reach way down,
Whoa.
Jesus will pick you up.
Every time, yes sir. Woo.
But at any rate, this is our coverage of those 4 cases. I think it's very when you step back and really look at these 4 cases, there's actually a common thread running through all 4 of them. And the Supreme Court is basically telling us that it wasn't simply choosing conservative or liberal outcomes. Instead, they were answering 4 different constitutional questions. How much power does the president have? How should Title IX be interpreted? How far does the First Amendment protect political spending? And how much authority should states have over election administration? Those questions going forward will shape, I believe, immigration policy, election laws, sports, and campaign financing well beyond this year. So we will see where this is going forward. Some are happy, some are upset, but I think the Supreme Court tried very, very hard to walk a very thin line as to what the ramifications could possibly come with some of the decisions had they been swayed the other way. So, brother,
I feel like the Supreme Court is going to have to work harder from here on out, because I now feel like at any point they flip, it flips either way, that they're immediately going to get hit with every single case they can to retry every single precedent. And then we are now just going to do that back and forth till infinity.
You think they're just trying to survive long enough until this administration is done?
I mean, that's the Republican side is a lot younger. So I think they have a couple, Clarence, and then I think is it Alito? Something.
Yeah, that NPR story that came out that he was going to retire, and then 30 minutes later they walked it back.
Somebody said something they weren't supposed to.
Yeah, exactly. That conversation left the table a lot faster than it was supposed to. You weren't supposed to say nothing yet.
So,
but
I think they're just going to keep retrying these every single time.
Yeah. And I'm glad you said that, Manny, because what I was going to say right before we end it and move to the next topic is these decisions did not invoke a feeling of bipartisanship.
No.
Not the slightest. Even though the birthright was 6-3, it didn't feel very bipartisan. Although unlike the case leaves me right now, but the one that you caused all this mayhem with, Manny, because you brought it up on the pod a couple weeks ago.
It could have been that one. I can't even think of. God, I can't remember the name either. See,
but go back 2 episodes, and that's the one we're talking about. Yeah. But that invoked a feeling of bipartisanship when that ruling came down. This week, nah, it didn't. Not at all.
Yeah. All right. Well, brothers, all hearts and minds clear on these Supreme Court cases?
Amen.
Hearts and mind cleared.
All right. Well, our next segment is to acknowledge the birthday of America on July 4th. This past week, the United States celebrated something.
God shed his grace on
we gotta start. I think we gotta start challenging some of these lyrics that we be singing. But
a lot of them need to be rewritten
completely and totally.
Don't even get me started on that. But
add some swag to the song,
bro. We ain't got it. I don't know if y'all noticed in the World Cup, man, but I started to notice a lot of folks either copycat each other on some of these national anthems, or some people really got original and they got some heat.
Part of it is
some of them are long as hell,
bro. Oh, some of them joints, bro. ain't no way I have any pride for my country. That song got to be that long, bro. If we got in the verse, if we got in the verse 2 and 3 of the Star Spangled Banner, oh, bro, I already feel some type of way about it.
Right.
If you got to carry me, well, I know why we don't get into some of them verses because y'all don't want to talk about how Francis Scott Key wanted. He was one of them. He was one of the ones that would have been up in D.C. this past week wearing that low grade security guard uniform with them fake Captain America shields.
Top flight security best.
Bruh. But the United States celebrated something only a handful of nations has ever experienced, and that was our 250th birthday. So 250 years since 56 men signed the Declaration of Independence and declared that this nation would govern itself. Whether you're conservative, liberal, independent, or somewhere in between, that's a milestone worth acknowledging. But the anniversary also raises a bigger question, not just where America has been, but where is America actually going? So the first point in this I want to talk about is the celebration of the 4th of July was bigger than it's ever been before. I actually kind of was annoyed because I was trying to watch actual regular TV, and every other station I turned to was some massive celebration going on. I'm like, can I please get to the World Cup? Please try to watch soccer. But this wasn't just another Independence Day. And first of all, shout out to Will Smith in the movie Independence Day, bro.
Saved us from the aliens, man.
And the I can't remember the guy's name, the character who everybody thought was crazy, who talked about he got probed,
yeah,
flew the jet up into the space,
back into it.
Yep. Shout out to him, bro.
Tell my kids I love them.
They called him crazy. Hey, that man just loved his kids, bro.
I'm back.
So yeah, shout out that, bro. Great movie, first of all, bro. Great movie. But the federal government, states, cities, museums, and military organizations spent years preparing for what was officially going to be this monumental occasion. Some of the biggest events occurred this past week. There were massive fireworks displays across the country. Washington, D.C.'s Great American State Fair. We might have to take a moment of silence for that state fair, bro.
Bruh.
How do I?
No, bro. Don't give him that. Don't even give him that.
Yeah, bro. That state fair was tragic, but we ain't gonna get on that. We had the largest July 4th firework display in American history. We had military flyovers, concerts, historic exhibits. NASA participated in the Artemis themed display celebrating America's exploration. New York City had a Sail Forth celebration featuring roughly 80 ships from around the world sailing through New York Harbor alongside military aircraft flyovers. This wasn't simply celebrating independence. It was celebrating 250 years of surviving as a constitutional republic. So, Manny, I will ask you this. And I think this is very interesting when you look at just how the excitement, the energy, and all those things in between for this July 4th. When you see something like America turning 250, does it make you more patriotic, or does it just make it feel like another holiday?
I think for this year, it was very much just another holiday, unfortunately.
Yeah.
You know, some of we have been at odds with each other as a country for so long that I think in a moment in a year, we had an opportunity to try to drive us together, and that's still not happening. Mm-hmm. You know, and that it could have been a really big unifying force, and it hasn't. We've seen the controversy linked to it from like who's paying for it, the events, states saying, "Hey, we're not participating in this event, or we're not doing that." Public companies saying, "Oh, we'll do it," and then things got wild, like with the North Carolina exhibit.
Nasty work.
Like it did not deliver, and then you watch the good Lord's hand. And dropping that heat bomb over D.C. and it's 8 bajillion degrees outside. and like, I think it was disappointing. And then I'm looking through the reporting on TikTok. And let's be honest for a second. TikTok and other social media. And let's be honest for a second. They're like, oh, look at all these flyovers that are happening, wasting U.S. taxpayer dollars.
Wasting.
But like these pilots are going to have to get flying hours anyway. And it's the 250, so I get it. Like the firework display, 850,000 effects. Now, I would have done a little bit different of a show and not fired off all of them essentially at the same time. Because I think a lot of views that I saw, it was like the same show happening in 5 different places. I would have maybe done different show. But we're at a rough place in the country to really be celebratory. Some Christmases don't feel like Christmas, even the ones with the big dates.
Well, that's a great point that you bring up, Manny. Before Chuck rebuttals, it makes me think of, we might have made it to another Christmas, but if we got robbed and they took all our gifts, like, I mean, it's Christmas, but it's like
it ain't really Christmas.
It ain't Christmas, and that's what it felt like to me. But go ahead, brother Chuck.
No, you started in the right direction. For me, I sat yesterday and I was like, did it lose its luster? Or did we just realize that they're putting a bunch of BS in front of us? Because I remember when we were younger, the 4th of July was the excitement, the luster of the day. But as I gotten older, particularly with the acknowledgement of Juneteenth, and Manny started this out perfectly. All the actions that have been taken this year has diminished the feeling, because this was a perfect opportunity to set up the 250th anniversary of the country, with the World Cup being here and America being the melting pot. But we started out this administration last year with a rage against immigrants, with wanting to kick everybody out and hunting people down in their homes and attacking the very bed of this country. We talked about it last week. We might as well just pull down Lady Liberty with all the actions that have taken place to get rid of the immigrant. So you have all the actions of removing certain historical aspects about slavery, about the civil rights movement, about many different aspects that make up America. You want to remove their catchphrase, critical race theory. Critical race theory is ruining this. No, that's history. That's the country's history.
Right.
So in that, when you want to remove these aspects to make you feel good, it doesn't make everybody else feel good when you're trying to celebrate this country, because we don't all feel included. You try to diminish the importance of different groups to prop yourself up. Or why should we feel like America when America don't feel like it wants to be us? And so for me, it has lost some of its luster, and for this was a perfect opportunity. The numbers show the World Cup attendance, although they're touting large numbers at these arenas, these stadiums. I know a couple of people on the back end, hotel reservations are nowhere near projected totals. The businesses in certain areas are getting a boom, but overall, the mass boom economically that people thought it would be, it's not there. Excuse me. And a lot of it has to do with people not wanting to come in fear of what could happen to them in just visiting the country. We saw with the Somalian referee got turned around and was not allowed to referee at the World Cup based off of the
His
actions
job.
of this administration. Exactly, it's his job. And what baffled me about his situation, he was a top FIFA official. It's not like he was some Rudy Poop, like
Coming
he
over here to
had.
start some mess.
Yeah, he had high marks and went through the proper channels to be approved. He went through the FIFA screening to even be approved to be an official for the World Cup. What happened to opening our arms to people? So when you have this negative energy, I saw something on social media. I think he said, if I'm not mistaken, he was British or somewhere in Europe. And he said, I'm old enough to have observed the bicentennial celebration of this country, of the US. And now I see the 250th celebration. And it's as if the country has lost its soul.
Mm.
And he said that it saddens him. He's not saying this to take a pot shot at America, but it saddens him to see that the country seems to have lost its soul with all of the negative energy and the negative actions toward individuals. And he prays and hopes that it heals and can get that soul back, because this is not what America should be. I remember the 220th 25th celebration, and as we approach in those incremental years of highlight, and it wasn't this.
Yeah,
it was not this. And so that's where my seriousness about it starts or ends, because now I'm gonna get these jokes off and the trash of a spectacle that was presented. And what's funny is we knew this was coming.
Yep.
Because the reflection pool was an omen.
It was the forewarning.
It was the omen to say this was going to be some
y'all.
bull crap.
Trying to tell
that
you.
algae was saying, hey, this ain't working. It ain't going to work. And I'm here to tell y'all, these fools had wallpaper to give a 3D illusion,
bruh,
at that Great American Fair.
Bruh, the foam in the corner, bruh.
The foam in the corner.
Bruh.
Like you could have did better to get some Flex Seal,
bruh.
To put that crap together.
Could have slapped that Flex Seal up there, bruh.
It'd have been just fine.
Gorilla Glue. And the Gorilla Glue come in silver, black, and white. So you could have got the white. And wouldn't have never known. Because it ain't like his eye level where you can see. Like somebody had to zoom up and be like, bro, you see all that foam spray?
It looked like a bad BBL. Like you know when they used to put caulk in.
Yep. Getting them done at them BBL parties.
Yeah.
Basement parties.
Then you look at the Great American Fair, was the Great American Disappointment in attendance. Like it was.
Man,
it could have been so
putrid.
I ain't seen not one person post a funnel cake, and that's how I know it was terrible.
Well, brother,
you can't have a fair without no funnel cake.
Not just that, they were showing the prices. It was like $17 for a sausage dog.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all tweaking.
Scamming
for that
hard.
half smoke.
Like it was insane. The prices that they were showing. You have your people tweeting out, or it's such great numbers. No, it's not. It's like about like 250 people out there.
Trump said it was full. Trump said it was full to the brim.
To the brim.
I said, bro, that's how I know. What part of insanity do you have to be?
Well, maybe
that
he
a man
meant
can
brim.
lie on. Right.
Maybe he meant like filled to the brim, meaning he wanted his event to be so filled that people could freely walk around without interrupting each
Bumping
other's
into
bubbles. Yeah. So
Right.
250 was actually them going over by 50.
Symbolic. It was
yeah.
symbolic. But
Terrible.
not just that. Then, Manny, you mentioned it. The heat dome
Bruh.
that was sitting
God said,
over
the Lord's not
sweltering.
pleased.
But then
Neither was Lee Greenwood. he had a song that said, I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I got AC. Want no AC? Or maybe free, that's what he said.
Free AC. I'm not free if I ain't got no AC.
Bruh.
I'm if I'm hot and bothered, I'm bound.
That's bondage. Yeah, America felt like the Israelites.
Listen, then that heat, you know what it causes? We're back to science.
Uh-oh.
Thunderstorms.
Mm.
And them jokers,
Well,
they came through dripping. Drip. I'm talking about they was in
Pour
scramble
down, bro.
mode, struggling, stuff getting turned over, flying away, and
But it's
the
like that
irony,
mighty wind.
the mighty Russian wind.
Bro.
And what's the irony is the MAGA constituents and crowds had to retreat to the African American Museum for shelter.
I bet they got in there, heard the ancestors humming.
Wade in the water.
Bro, somebody probably looked around and saw all them exhibits, bro. Like, where are we?
Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water.
Well, they got in there and got the itching.
What should have happened is they walked in, they're like, hey, y'all can't just wait here. You actually have to go through the exhibit. So start at the top. Go ahead and work your way down.
Once again.
No, they sent them on that elevator down where it all started.
Once again, we got you covered.
We got you covered.
We're taking care of it. But you know what's real funny to me? And this is not a black and white thing. It's y'all wrong and hypocrite thing. It's always about backing the blue until the blue is telling you what to do. Because the way them people was raging and yelling at those police officers who was telling them that they had to leave and vacate because of the weather, and they yelling back at them, USA, I must stay. And this one over to me, I ain't getting on the train, I'm staying here. Why y'all can't follow direction? They telling y'all to leave for your safety. It just blew me. It blew me away. And to Manny's point about this doggone fireworks show, they issued a health warning that if you was pregnant, infant, elderly, or had some kind of respiratory issue, stay in the house. Because these 850,000, hear me again, 850,000 fireworks that they were letting off simultaneously over a 40-minute stretch of a show could reduce the air quality so much,
bruh,
that they put you at levels of a smog warning.
Look, and I'm cool with the amount of fireworks. At least make it a decent show.
No, Manny, I am not cool with the amount of fireworks, because the normal fireworks show, the numbers somebody was spouting the numbers, is generally about 20,000.
20,000. Yep.
Yeah, that's a little egregious.
850. Shoot, in just your little neighborhood, if you let off if you let off 40 fireworks, you know the air quality is reduced and you see all the smokiness.
Yep.
I saw the video at the start of that fireworks show. You can see the fireworks. By minute 40, all you saw was flashing lights in the background of the clouds and the smoke. You couldn't even see that.
Chuck, some of them elderly folks didn't stay in the house, did they?
I hope so.
They must ain't read the Bible when they say you got to put that blood around your doorpost and wait till the night till the next morning.
To the Passover.
Gotta let that smoke, gotta let that man pass over. It's like claim your firstborn.
The firstborn and the firstborn of the cattle.
Bruh.
But how we like I'm
Insane,
all
bro.
for a beautiful spectacle of a fireworks show, and I'm all for going above and beyond the normal realm. And like you said, man, the logistics of it, you could have did it a lot differently. Could have, you know, have synchronous. I was about to say something egregious, and it ain't June no more. But you can have synchronous firing of the works to make it look like something to allow for, you know, the dissipation or the spread of the smoke to not be so concentrated. But you let off all them fireworks, and at the end of it, no matter how close you were sitting or how far away it was, it looked like lightning behind the clouds. That's
Well, I
how
think
clear
that,
it was.
but I think to both of your points, it makes me think of this: if the patriotism and the true joy and nature of the holiday and the moment was there, you wouldn't have to overcompensate the way that you did. That wasn't
Well,
necessary to me. That's not necessary. You
yeah.
don't have to go be extravagant when just the sheer joy of what we have accomplished as a nation is a moment we all can celebrate.
And
There's no
USA
need,
Soccer is winning.
bro. Yes, that's bro.
Right.
I think that alone in itself, you know, to see that and experience that, and but also, you know, to me, Trump should be ashamed of himself because, and there was a moment I saw on social media, and I'm gonna give a warning too once I say this. There was somebody that said if Barack Obama was president, there'd be a lot more joy in this, and you might be right. But what I want y'all to stop doing is bringing Barack Obama up because that's how we got in this mess in the first place,
Please.
bro.
Right.
Please. Please.
Y'all leave Obama, bro. Every time, bro, stop with the Obama, bro. Obama done his time. He gone. And had y'all not put that man up beside Martin Luther King, Jesus, and John
And
F.
John F.
Kennedy,
Kennedy.
we would have never had Trump in the first place, bro. So y'all got to leave that alone. But in all seriousness though, when you have this moment, and I think for the most part, everyone truly has enjoyed the holiday of July 4th. But when you have America in the shape and condition in which it's in, it's hard to do that. It makes me think of being in a family and you have this perception of who your family is because that's been protected and shielded by your mother or your father or both of them.
Yeah.
So they preserve this image of what your family is to you. But
Mhm.
once you become an adult,
Yes,
you
sir.
start to see things a lot differently because you're no longer in that kid state anymore where that protection has shielded that image for you.
You
Now that we're
preaching,
in
boy.
a position where we see America for who it is, and
Mm-hmm.
not only do we see America for who it is, but the lack of accountability in which America is unwilling to have for itself,
Right.
then I cannot celebrate that which I do not agree or accept or lacks the accountability necessary for me to accept America for what it is. And I think that leads us to two Americas being celebrated
Mm-hmm.
on this holiday. Millions of people celebrated America 250. But some Americans view the celebration as honoring freedom, military service, and the country's accomplishments, but others argue that the anniversary didn't even acknowledge some of the things that have made America what it is and isn't, such as slavery, such as Native American displacement, such as inequality, such as unfinished chapters that America has. And even when you talk about that, and what you both have already brought up, even the planning became political, which I think why you see such a failure of America 250. The
Yep.
original bipartisan American 250 Commission was largely in charge of this, but they ended up having to take a back seat and just be involved because the White House's Freedom 250 initiative took more of a prominent role in organizing the major federal celebrations, which prompted criticism from some who felt that the anniversary had become too partisan.
Yeah.
And when you look at polling around the holiday suggested many Americans believe the celebration had become overly political. You had the president who stood up and had a speech that was highly political, which to me, again, you're the champion of the state of which we are in this celebration. You get up here and want to make a campaign speech about communism, and we already know why that is being thrown around because of what we talked about in the previous episode of seeing the victories of Mamdani, what we've seen in certain areas with certain people winning certain primaries, and even in that, that's not a time and place. The man got up there and tried to quote saying that the Declaration of Independence said this, was really he quoted a Bible scripture.
Right.
And it wasn't even in it. And then said, well, a communist wouldn't say this. This is a holy moment for this. Sir, you need to stop saying that word. But when you think about this, there were two different sides of America on this holiday. And one thing that I think about, and the question I want to ask you, Chuck, can America ever tell its full history without people feeling like either the good or the bad parts are being ignored?
Never. You can't tell the history, the story, if you don't give the full story.
Yeah.
And I'll put it in the parental aspect. You know your children.
Mm-hmm.
And a situation happened you may not be present for. And you ask them what happened, and they start telling you the story. And they're going to leave out any incriminating information.
Detail here, detail there.
that implicates them in a negative light.
Uh-huh.
But you know your child. And you know that story just don't sit right in your spirit. So you continue to dig more and more. To get more and more information. Mm-hmm. And as the digging continues and the questions continue to be asked, the answers start to shift a little bit. And there's an omission here. There's a contradiction there. Mm-hmm. And then we finally see the ugly truth. That's what this is. And you said it perfectly and hit the nail right on the head, brother. As we got older, that veil of protection had been removed. You know what? I can't celebrate this holiday for two reasons. Number one, have you seen the price of beef?
Bruh.
Piss me off.
Bruh, it's like $10.
The highest level of pissivity.
Ain't no burgers.
That's number one.
We are the burgers.
We are the burgers. Number two, I ain't got no reparations. America, you owe me money. And it ain't gonna sit right in my spirit to celebrate nothing you doing. To you that's like you seeing the person that owe you and he posted on social media.
Yes, Chuck.
That they got a fresh fit and they going to this concert, but you know you owe me money.
Bro.
And it came from you. You said it.
Hey, bro, how you have a birthday party at your house? You done threw this party that invited me. Knowing you owe me money, and you sit here, you done got a band, you done got a spread, bro, you got the whole spread, you done got a bounce house for the kids, and I know all this costs money, and I know that you owe me. I'm sitting there to cook out tight. I don't want nothing in there. No, I'm going home.
I came here to pocket watch to see how much you spent, knowing you owe me money. So nah.
Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, bro.
Yeah, but you can't tell you, and it is baffling the point I made earlier that they try to more and more eradicate the ugly truth,
bro.
We so quickly and so easily apologized for what happened in Japan. We so quickly and easily, as a country, apologize what happened during the Holocaust, and it had nothing to do with us.
Had nothing to do with us.
But we can't acknowledge and apologize for the transgressions that happened during slavery, that happened during Jim Crow, through the civil rights era, through segregation. We don't want to acknowledge and apologize for that. In fact, We're steady trying to tear it down. We see what happened with the Voting Rights Act. You see the attack on birthright citizenships, and there are people who have openly, and I bring this stuff up because there's individuals in government who have openly called for the repeal of the 14th Amendment. If I'm not mistaken, I can't remember where the Joker, I want to say that he's from Georgia, that representative from Georgia who went to the floor to pass a constitutional amendment to repeal the 14th Amendment. And we just told y'all what that amendment is about. Mm-hmm. So how can I, in good faith, in good conscience, and in sound heart, sit here and celebrate the deconstruction of who I am in this country to prop this country up to say how amazing it is when you're not being amazing to all of your people.
And one thing you brought up, Chuck, and I just want to say this point, man, and then I'll let you go. Chuck brings up a good point about your kids. And one thing that we all can agree on as parents, regardless of what you did, good or bad, you make the situation worse by trying to omit the bad. Yep. If you would come with me with the full story, I think we all would say, that doesn't change how much we love you. We actually can go somewhere. We can move somewhere.
We can navigate the situation.
If you come with the whole package, right? If you don't try to omit certain things, America to me is the same way. America would be so much further along the road if we would stop trying to omit everything and just acknowledge it and use it for our teaching, for our learning, for our growth. It is not that hard. It's just like when we look at the Bible. We read the Old Testament for what? For our learning, from our understanding, for knowledge. That's what we do it for. We don't say, oh, man, that what happened in the Old Testament, we need to take some of that stuff out because it looks bad. No, it's a part of history. And we use that, and that governs us to how we are supposed to operate today. America, we got to stop trying to pick out what we omit and delete. We keep trying to dress up the pig and put lipstick on Charlotte's Web. It's still a pig, and it's fine. We know it's a pig. It's cool. We know it's a pig, bro. But stop trying to tell me that it's a beautiful miniature pony when I know it's a pig. We can move past it.
And I think the rough part is that people feel as though by accepting it, they now know better, and now they know that they have to do better.
Accountability.
And they don't want to do better.
That A word is like the scarlet letter, bro. What's so hard about accountability?
That's a fact.
Hey. Well, I think that...
And real quick, there is not a group that has shown that they love this country more than anyone else than the Black American. And I know, but I'm a patriot. Listen, to be disenfranchised, to be ridiculed, to be persecuted, but still show up, still forgive, still love, and still be a part of continuously.
Bruh. Chuck, and I want to add another part with that. And not accept it by some of your own people.
Yes, sir.
Because there's a view from Africans about African American people. So not even the own people that you have a connection with, descendant wise, they even sometimes, depending on who they are, can look at us differently. And we still hey, this is home. America is home. But America keeps showing
That's all we know.
Yep.
That's all we know. That's one of my biggest gripes against the term African American. And I use Black American because you can't throw slave descendants on an entire continent.
Right.
My people ain't come from Mozambique. Like,
that's what used to kill me when white people always when they would get racist and want to always say, well, go back home. Go back home. I am home.
I am home.
How about you go back to your home? This is home for us. But excellent point. But one thing I want to point out with America turning 250 that I think is often forgotten. You hear 250 and it sounds old, but America is relatively young.
Yeah.
When you compare it to countries like China, like Egypt, like Greece and England, we're still a young country. So yet in those 250 years, America has done some great things. And I know it sounds like we're bashing America, but America has done some great things. We've become the world's largest economy. We are a military superpower. We're home of Silicon Valley.
Hold on, slow
we
down,
were
now, brother. Slow down,
yes, sir.
slow down. Iran just called on the
Okay.
phone. They said, y'all might be a military power.
But Super might have an
After
asterisk beside it.
After this little conflict,
A little skirmish.
Super,
We-
y'all power.
we might have to take a vote and see what we might have to count our inventory and what does the song say, Chuck? Count our many blessings.
Yes, sir.
see what God has done. We might need to start counting. But this country also put humans on the moon, which y'all know how I am as your resident conspiracy moon theory expert. I might have to put an asterisk beside that, but until otherwise, we'll say okay. And we've been one of the world's largest exporters in culture through movies, music, technology, and sports.
Yes,
also,
sir.
to what Chuck has said before, America, you welcome. That's an incredible amount of influence in just 2.5 centuries. But at the same time, America has also reported historically low trust in institutions. Political polarization remains intense, and debates continue over immigration, education, and the role of the government. And before I ask this question to Manny, I just want to say this on the immigration perspective. America, you are only great, or have been considered to be great, because of those that have migrated to America. There are a large amount of people that contribute immensely to the identity of America, especially our brown brothers and sisters. They oftentimes, especially when we look at what has happened in this administration, from the attacks coming from ICE, from the president, those same people, though all of them, just like any set of people, there are a few people that have bad apples. I'm not taking that away at all, but there are a lot of people that are immigrants that have come over here and that have truly, truly, truly embodied what America is and has made America what it is. And I think that should be acknowledged. And for those of you that sit there, especially for our brown brothers and sisters, if you are one of those people that feel like they shouldn't be in our country, stop going to those restaurants and flooding them people and eating up their food.
Yeah.
At minimum.
That's the least you could do, bro. Stop going there saying gracias. Stop. Get out of folk place, bro. Potatoes. Get out of folk places. Don't do that. Don't do that. But to my question that I'll ask you, Manny, if the founding fathers could walk around America today, do you think they would be proud, or do you think they would be shocked?
So it depends at what point I'm talking to them at this standpoint, because we know those first 5 to 10 minutes. Who are all these black people walking around just free and stuff?
No,
They wouldn't say black people.
They wouldn't say black people at all.
So that's an adjustment, at least for the first 5 to 10 minutes. I think some would be shocked. I think there'd be a lot of frustration. We set it off with the Boston Tea Party over a 3% tax.
Boy,
They would see this and say, "When are you currently in revolution?"
that's a fact.
So, and to see like what we see now happening with religious liberty, how we are at play in various countries around the world, I think there would be a lot to be proud of, but then there would be a whole lot of like, you guys have strayed so far from what we initially, had set up. That interpretation you gave of the Constitution, this is what we really meant. not whatever you just put here for that. So I think some of it they would be shocked, but I think there would be a lot of disappointment from them. And that, let's just take the issue of race, as hard as that is, completely out of that piece. Again, how we're involved in other countries, how we're meddling in other countries, our constant, fight to be in war or a conflict with somebody, how we tax, people and organizations, they would be really frustrated.
Man, look, like you said, I'm not even gonna speak on the race aspect. How we're involved in other countries and our engagement with other countries and the relationship we have with other countries, oh, they would be befuddled, hot,
Bruh.
just that would be very interesting. Very interesting. The racial aspect is a no-brainer. Just from a there's that word again, history, historical context and reference. That it would be a shocker to them. But yeah, how the government is ran, how income tax, how that's administered.
Income tax, sales tax, property.
Yeah, they would be flabbergasted and ready to raise an uprising because of those aspects. That's a fantastic question to think about from that perspective of truly how it was and the structure of how things were set up and how far we've strayed from that structure. It's that's one of those things that make you go, truly him.
I've said it before here on the podcast, but George Washington is, some would consider him being one of the most prominent founding fathers. And one thing that I always have been interested in his approach and how he would see us now when it comes to our allies and our alliances, because as I stated before in his 1796 farewell address, he said for a young country they need to steer clear of some
leave them alone.
Alliances.
Don't have no friends.
He said, he said some temporary alliances are acceptable, depending on the circumstance and if it's necessary and can be useful to achieve some things in specific emergencies. But permanent alliances, he said, yeah, nah. He said the only thing, and in his farewell, he stated that permanent foreign treaties would unnecessarily drag the fragile young country into costly, bloody wars. And I think if he would see us today,
got it.
I told y'all.
Tried to tell you.
And being allies with England,
bro.
What? Who?
Did I not free you?
Man,
bro, that's very interesting. And for our listeners, we love to hear your thoughts on it. What do you think the founding fathers would be? Do you think they be proud? Do you think they be shocked? What aspects would they be proud of? What aspects of it that would they be shocked? Certainly, from that question, a great approach to it is what Manny said, what Chuck spoke on, those taxes. We see how they can be very taxing on the American people. And certainly not an aspect that the founding fathers, their approach to how the country should govern itself and just the institution and how which we govern ourselves to our citizens, and that how that is either hurting or hampering us in our lives as American citizens. So yeah, that'd be a very interesting question. So if you got some thoughts on it, let us know. So to wrap up this 250, certainly we've talked about the past and we've talked about the present. But I want to switch our approach to where we go now and what the next 250 years begin to look like. And that beginning starts now. So the founding fathers obviously could not predict the cars that we have, electricity, the internet, artificial intelligence, space travel, social media, even to our military, nuclear weapons. Yet every generation has inherited a responsibility of deciding what America becomes next. Our generation and the generations that are present now have their own challenges. We have AI. We got national debt. We have political division. We have global competition. We have declining trust in institutions. We have climate and energy debates. And I'm gonna tell y'all, just to put a pin right there, those climate debates. If you didn't feel that heat shield and that heat dome this week, bro, Al Gore tried to tell y'all about this
Tried to tell
climate
you.
mess, and y'all thought that he was joking. I have never in all, and I could just be me, maybe I was under a rock as a kid, but I have never heard of a heat dome and a heat shield. In the summer, we played outside every day, bro. I
Super
went
El
to go,
Nino.
bro. El Nino was about as much as I heard of, bro.
Yeah.
I went to go crank the car to just start the cooling process of the car, and let me tell you, I almost didn't make it back in. That heat, I thought I had asthma, and I don't have any breathing issues at all, bro. Breathing in all that hot air, that preheated oven air. Any of y'all that debate climate, I got a problem with you. But also America's role in the world. So America at 250 isn't just about celebrating the past; it's deciding what country we look like going forward. So when you think about America 250 right now, 350 going forward, what do you hope that historians will say about the generations present now and what they are doing to push America forward and what it will look like in 300, in 350, in the years and generations going forward? Chuck, I mean, Manny, I'll ask you that question first.
I I think I think there will be a lot of questions about why the boomers held on for so long.
Mm,
You know, you see, I would say in large cases, you see usually a generational handover at about 30, 40. Like that's where you start seeing a lot of handovers you have historically. Now, our lifespans are also significantly longer than they were 20, 40, 50 years ago. But boomers have held on to control, I would probably say, longer than any other generation in our history. And the fact that they are still making decisions
Jesus.
that they will ultimately not live to deal with the consequences are going to be reflected on Gen X, on the millennials, on Gen Z, and that's going to be rough. And then when they finally transition away, what does that shift go to? Does it shift to Gen X, or do we essentially skip a lot of Gen X in terms of leadership, hop down to the millennials? Are the millennials so dejected at this point that it jumps largely over millennials and heads to Gen Z? So I think that'll be interesting to look back historically and see how that played out into this story that's America.
well said, brother. My brother Chuck.
Um, he knocked it out the park. I was gonna say, they look back and say, why did they allow the boomers to be in control for so long?
Yeah.
Like, but to be honest with you, I don't care what they think. Hit 350. I don't want to be here.
Take
I
me
don't-
to the king.
And low key, I don't know if I want to be here at 300. That's not, that means I would be about 94, 95. You know, I might want to be here for 300 because then I'm gonna be an honorary cuss, boy. I'll be I can give it hell. Just saying what I want to. But nah, Manny knocked it out the park. Like you look at the impact that the boomers had for as long as the boomers had, and in all honesty, I think Gen X gets screwed over.
Yep.
Because by the time the boomers are really have let go,
It's time for them to let go too.
be it time or they're dead, it's gonna be at that same point of Gen X. Hey, y'all need to go be sitting on the porch in the rocking chair. And so, as the millennial, where do we start taking a firm control and grasp and then you got Gen Z on the heels,
Yep.
and so Manny said that perfectly.
Yeah, I think at any rate, the next chapter is not going to be written by the actions and the works of our founding fathers as
Oh,
Jefferson. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'll say one more thing.
Yeah.
The history's gonna say, how did we clean this crap up?
Or did we?
Oh man.
Or did we? Or did we? Yes.
Chuck, that. Now that's a nugget right there, man. Because it's not the mess that we're in. How do we rebound from it? And that will be truly a study of, I mean, of
Epic
great
proportions.
magnitude.
Political leadership, human
Yeah,
leadership.
the whole
Somehow,
nine. How do
you was
you
in this
gain?
mess.
How do you come back and gain human capital?
Yep.
And that human capital is the trust that the gentleman I said, that the soul. Do we continue down a path where we lose our soul, and and now we're a zombie of a country, or do we get our soul back and yes, we say the empires, fall, the rise of empire, the fall, but do we get our soul back to be truly not so much from an empire standpoint, but truly a people of the people?
Yeah.
Like, do we recapture that feeling, and how long does it take to be able to get our luster back? Because we're very dull. There's nothing shiny about the U.S. right now. It's a very dull luster. Although I think these European and foreigners who came here for the World Cup have a newfound aspect of understanding and love for the people of America, not the leadership of America.
But Chuck, you make a great point, because it's there.
Yeah.
It just needs to be captured. It just needs to be brought to the forefront of who we are as a people, because you see glimpses of those moments where you're like, okay, for instance, the World Cup. We talk about it like no matter who you speak of, who you talk to. I was talking to a guy at church today. I don't watch soccer, but man, with the U.S., I'm excited. Right? There's still those hopes that it's like we have those connections. Those strings are fragile, but they're there where we can pull together and say, hey, we're Americans. We're patriots. We're this. This is who we are. So it's not that it's going to be impossible. It's going to be one heck of a feat. It's going to take some serious people to champion, and it's going to take something that is going to be massive to really move us back into that center to say, okay, whether you're Republican, whether you're Democrat, whether you're independent, whether you're a non-voter, whether you're black, whether you're white, whether you're Hispanic, it does not matter. We all understand who we are, what we are, and how we make each other great. That is, in the cliche of me saying this is how you make America great again. It's possible. That will truly be, I think, what history will look back on. How America, in one light to make it great again, was diminished only for someone or some people to come to champion us back into a position where we truly became great again. And I think that moment starts now. 250 is done. Anyway, we can't do anything else about it. We can acknowledge it. We can use it for our learning, for our history, for our teaching, so that we can evolve as a people and understand who we are. But the next 250 starts here. And someone else will be studying that history tomorrow. And hopefully they'll see, I don't know how it was possible, but one heck of a job was done to get us back to where we were supposed to be. So that's my thoughts on it. Happy 250th birthday, America. While rather young, you made it this far. Don't crash and burn, and we don't make it to another 250. That we don't make it to another 250. So with that being said, brothers, we have gotten to that point of our episode where we have reached our pickle of
when I'd get us all into the biggest pickle any of us had ever seen.
All right. So here we are with the pickle of the week, and I got a pretty interesting one. This might not be actually it's not as political, and it might be more of a stray shooting, if you will. But my pickle of the week goes to Paul Pelosi, the husband of one Nancy Pelosi. Now, this isn't about Paul and Noah. Before I warn you, he has been attacked again. There has been no attempts on his life. He might have made one on somebody else's, had they been where they were supposed to be. But Paul Pelosi is 86 years old, for those of you who don't know. And Mr. Pelosi is facing a misdemeanor hit and run charge after authorities say he struck a legally parked car in Napa County. And guess what Mr. Paul did? He drove away. Now, deputies say he later told them that he knew he hit something, but just wasn't sure what it was.
Lord.
Now, alcohol wasn't involved. So I want to state that because earlier I believe it was 2022, he got in a little bender. You know, he was on that half pint and got in a little trouble. So I want to give him grace. Paul is doing better. He had no alcohol in his system this time, but he hit this legally parked car. No one was injured, and because of his age, California is referring him for DMV driver reevaluation. Now, first I want to say this. I want to thank God that nobody was hurt because he did some serious damage to this parked car. But we got to have an honest conversation, not just about Paul, but all you elderly drivers. What California just did to Mr. Paul, that he has to go back to the DMV for reevaluation, needs to be made. And I am calling right now on the cowards of Congress to stand up on the two legs that God has given you and put something on the floor that make this a federal mandate. We got to do something about these elderly drivers. Where we going, Chuck? 72?
72, brother. 72.
72. You got to get back in that DMV and take that test. And I'm talking about I want a full workup.
Yes, sir. I want you going to your doctor.
Full workup. You need to put your chin on that machine and read them signs. You need to take that test again, the written test and the driving test. We need to make sure you can do a 3-point turn. We need you to get to a certain speed and hit that emergency brake to make sure that you know how to brake properly. Blinkers, everything.
Need that full gambit.
Brother, the whole entire workup. And then once you turn 75, no prior infractions, you got to go once a year, bro. You got to.
Yeah.
We done seen too many times. All of us have had stories, and Paul has done nothing. Now, Paul they're doing the right thing in California by making him get reevaluated, but too many times has grandma backed into the mailbox, and we had to replace the mailbox. Too many times, grandpa got two hands on the wheel, his seat pushed all the way to the steering wheel column, but he can't see the dashboard. He can't stay within the lines. Too many times have they hit pedestrians without a single honking of the horn. It's too many times.
Too many.
We have got to get these old folks off the road. I love y'all. I love you. I love you with all my heart. But most accidents happen within 5 miles of a person's address. Most old people are frequent in driving within them 5 miles.
They don't go past them.
They don't go past them 5 miles. Church is within 5 miles. Grocery store within 5 miles. Get their medicine from the pharmacist within 5 miles. And y'all are tearing these folks' cards up. I guarantee you, when you look at where Paul Pelosi in this accident happened, he probably was right in the neighborhood of where he lived.
6 max.
At the most, I'll give you 7 on a good day because that's the lowest number. 7 miles. Y'all got to get evaluated. That's all. That's all to it. Paul is just a spokesperson, just like we have Deion Sanders as a spokesperson for Depends. Paul Pelosi is a spokesperson for DMV reevaluation. So, Paul, you ain't a pickle this week just because of you. You are a pickle because you bring about a conversation that needs to be had, that we have got to do something about. I'm calling it for Congress right now. It's a crisis. It's a
Yes.
national
National
crisis.
emergency.
It is a I'm tired of when I get on a road and it's the speed limit 55 and I'm wondering why we going 42. It's because Grandma Chin is sitting on the dash. Grandma, I'm about ready to. What did the police have, Chuck, when they roll out when somebody trying to flee?
Spike strips.
I'm about to carry a pair of them in my trunk. I'm about to roll them strips and get you off this road. I'm about to pop your tires because you got to go. Grandma, you got to go. So that is my pickle of the week. Paul, I'm keeping my eye on you because I want to see if you're gonna pass that evaluation. Because if you don't, I really got some ammo to go to Congress and tell them why we need to pass this. But for the elderly people, stay off them roads, man. Y'all got to do better, bro. We got places to be. And just like Chuck brought about in the last segment, how long have the boomers been holding on? How long y'all gonna keep holding on to them licenses? How long? That's my pickle of the week, bro.
And Paul got a double whammy because he got a TBI, traumatic brain injury. That man got busted upside the head with a hammer.
Bro.
And he's of a higher age level.
Yep. So he need to learn his permit. That's what he need. Maybe that we can throw.
No.
He got to drive with
After
an adult.
9.
Chuck. He got to drive with an adult under the age of 55.
No, just get him a driver. Put him in the backseat. Get him a driver.
Bro.
Paul don't need to be by himself anyway.
He don't. Every time. Never mind. Paul, hey man. Say man.
Good luck.
Good luck at that, bro. Good luck at that DMV line. I heard they hell in California, bro. Hopefully you can get you an appointment. They can get you in before the summer out. But that's my pickle of the week. So we've reached the end of our episode. And of course, guys, as you always know, at the end of our episode, we like to bring you our spotlights of the week. So my brother Manny, what is your spotlight for the week?
Well, something finally happened in the state of North Carolina. On Thursday, the General Assembly finally approved a $34 billion state budget, the largest in North Carolina history. It passed 88 to 21 in the House and 35-10 in the Senate. It is North Carolina's first full budget since October of 2023. And we've been the only state without a budget since we enacted the old one. As of right now, the bill is still sitting on Josh Stein's desk. So his office says it's under a review. As of the time of recording, he has not signed it, vetoed it, or just let it fall. He has until July 10th. July 12th to sign it, or else it just falls in. And then ultimately, let's be real about it. If he does veto it, it's likely getting overridden and going into effect. So let's talk about what's in it. Starting first, it's a personal income tax cut from 3.9% to 3.45% starting in 2027. With an aim of getting it all the way down to 2.49% by 2034, as long as the state hits specific revenue targets. Teachers will receive an average raise of 8%, their largest since 2006, with starting pay for pretty much every teacher before local supplements is $48,000. But unfortunately, these raises are not going to be retroactive from last year. State employees are going to be getting a 3% raise. Highway patrol and correction officers, they are going to see raises somewhere between 13% to 27.5%. There's $700 million in non-recurring funding for Helene. They still need more. So advocates are really getting out here and say need somewhere in the $800 million range, so probably another 200 million on top of that they need. But it's starting that progress. There's an additional 105 million towards an Apex Children's Hospital. There's a gambling tax gap that they're going to be addressing, basically paying 23% on revenue and licensing fees. Then there was a very big hit to civil legal aid. The budget effectively removed a funding vehicle for civil legal services and redirecting 15 million towards the private assigned counsel fund. Legal aid, who helps provide legal services and consultations to people who need help, has already been impacted. One of the offices in Rocky Mount actually was closed recently. So after 1,000 days, they finally got a budget done. So the full budget right now is about 634 pages. So it's not a quick read. And there's an expected amendment that's going to probably come through to adjust some of the language even further. But they finally got it done. We were wondering if that was going to happen before election time, and they actually got it done. Now we'll deal with the fallouts to education, to legal services, and just general health impact now that it's been done. But we will see how this plays out over the next couple weeks into the year. But that is my spotlight of the week.
All right. Sounds good, brother. Brother Chuck, what you got, man?
Yes, sir. My spotlight this week is for an individual. I am wanting to spotlight and more so highlight U.S. Air Force Major Jason Watson. And you may ask, who is Jason Watson? And Major Watson is an active duty officer wearing the uniform of the United States Air Force. And what did he do? He held a protest on the steps of the U.S. Capitol, staging a very high-profile protest by an active duty uniform member of the military. So on July 1st, on the steps of the U.S. Capitol building, Major Watson delivered a speech criticizing the Trump administration's military actions in Iran, Cuba, and Venezuela. He argued that these actions bypassed required congressional approval and violated the War Powers Clause. And he even held a sign that said, "Impeach, convict, remove." Sounds like some interesting or similar familiar points you've heard somewhere else before. But while these demonstrations, peaceful demonstrations are permitted on the Capitol grounds in specific areas, individuals are prohibited from demonstrating on the House steps without being accompanied by a member of Congress. Well, in the start of his protest, there was a congressional member there. Our good brother, Democratic Representative Al Green of Texas. He was on the site. And as we told you before, it was super hot out there. So I don't know how long Brother Green was able to hang around. But he had to leave. Now he was there in support of Major Watson, but when he left, U.S. Capitol Police ordered Watson to move. He refused, and in his refusal, he was arrested for crowding, obstructing, and incommoding. It's the law. I understand it. What makes this a highlight for me is because him being a uniformed active duty officer. And although D.C. Superior Court officials stated that local criminal charges are likely not to be filed against Watson, he does face an investigation, and the case has been handed over to the Air Force. So with this, there's a couple of violations that he had, pretty core U.S. military regulation violations that he had. One is the uniform restrictions. The Department of Defense regulations strictly prohibit active duty service members from wearing their uniforms while participating in political rallies or partisan public demonstrations. And then there's Article 88 of the UCMJ, which is the Uniform Code of Military Justice. Commissioning officers are legally forbidden from using contemptuous words against the sitting president, vice president, or Congress. And I think it's very contemptuous to say convict and impeach the president. But in this, just to give a background, Major Watson is a very decorated uh, graduate of the U.S. Academy and has a 17-year military career. He has tours of deployment in Afghanistan, Iraq, Kuwait, and within NATO. So with this, I just want to highlight him and salute him for his approach and his stance, because he can face not only um, discharge from the military, but court martial and losing his military benefits. And at 17 years, approaching the 20-year retirement mark for full retirement, um, he put at jeopardy all of this for standing up for what he felt was right. And to me, that is something that needs to be highlighted. Um, in that many times over, myself included, there are moments where I don't want to say compromised or held back in certain stances based off of my job. And not to go too deep and prolong the episode, but when there's been moments where I did not want to stand for the national anthem. I don't care how you feel about my approach to that. If you have something to say about it, message me. We can have a nice spirited conversation. But I did, because I worked for a company that was associated with and attached to the U.S. military, and thus in I guess say fear of repercussions on the job, uh, I went against my feeling of better judgment. Um, so I salute him on this. And interestingly enough, it's been a year since I got screwed over and lost that job. But yeah, that's my spotlight, man. So Major Watson, salute to you for standing on principle, standing on what you believe in, and echoing the sentiment of your heart, and doing what many, I'm sure, in the military um, agree with, especially how this administration has removed so many high-ranking officials from position um, on a political basis, not on the grounds of their merit or their work history. Very highly decorated military individuals. Um, yeah, salute to you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Indeed, indeed. Well, brothers, it has, I guess it's my turn to bring out my spotlight of the week, and mine is highlighting an issue, but bringing some information to the forefront that our listeners may or may not be aware of. There is a congressman, Republican congressman, Tom Keene Jr., who had been missing from duty from his job in Congress. He was gone for about 100 days, and this past week he returned. And he came to the floor. He had revealed that the reason he had disappeared from Congress for months was because he was hospitalized while battling depression. And he said something that really stood out to me. He said that he realized that depression isn't just emotional, it can be physical too, and that's something millions of men understand, but very few are willing to admit publicly. So, in that, I respect him for saying that, because here's the reality: we've been spent generations being men, being told to man up. Don't cry. Don't talk about your feelings. Don't ask for help. Just work harder. Just deal with it. And then we act surprised when men suffer in silence. But what disappointed me wasn't that Tom King struggled with depression. That's not what disappointed me. It was watching some people, his very own colleagues, immediately turn this into political ammunition. You are aware of Congresswoman Lauren Boebert, which she had some very harsh responses to recognizing what he was going through. And some of the things she said is that though he had returned, it was very embarrassing, and that she gets that obviously. She thinks that anyone should take care of themselves, but one of the comments she made was that who goes missing from their job for 4 months because they're sad. And in that's exactly to me why so many men never speak up, because they have the moment they do, somebody calls them weak. Somebody questions their toughness. Someone tells them just to get over it, and then wonder why the suicide rates among men remain so high. Now, as all you know, I am a Christian. I think that again, no one should be surprised. I
Not
don't
at this
believe.
point.
Yeah, not at this point, right? We didn't pass around enough collection plates. But as a Christian, I don't believe strength means pretending you're okay. I think real strength is admitting when you're not. If you have ever picked up your Bible and read it, you would realize that there were very strong, prominent men in the Bible that had moments of weakness. David cried. David cried out to God. If you read Psalms, oh my God, there's enough of it in there. Elijah in himself, as strong as a prophet as he was, he had a moment of weakness where he wanted to die. Job had absolutely everything. And in a moment of him losing so much, he questioned everything. I mean, heck, if you even study your Bible, the shortest Bible verse is what? Jesus wept. The
Yep.
Bible never teaches us to fake strength. It teaches us to carry one another's burden. So, in this, here's my challenge and why this is my spotlight. First, if you're someone who uses the phrase or tells men, men or men to man up every time they're struggling, maybe it's time for you to grow up. Because the strongest thing a man can do isn't pretending he doesn't need help. It's having the courage to ask for it. And if this conversation, if this spotlight helps just one man decide to call a friend, to call a brother in Christ, your pastor, a minister, a counselor, or even if you have a spouse, and it provokes you to have a moment to say, "I'm not okay." I believe that this is spotlight worthy. There are so many men that are struggling in silence for the sake of always being told, "Man up." It's 2026, and we got to do something with that phrase, because there's nothing wrong with not being okay. What's wrong with it is not being okay and not feeling like you have a space to be able to say that. And if you're one of those people that don't create that space, I challenge you. Create that space. You'd be very surprised that the very people that you think are strong are probably in their most weakest state, in their most weakest point in state right now in life. So, Congressman, I'm glad that you're back. I'm glad you're shining the light on the realization of what depression can do, because it's not just emotional. It can have a physical and very damaging toll on an individual. And in a society where men should be able to have that space to say so, I'm glad that you stood up on that floor and said what you had to say. I support men's health, as I feel like we all do. And if you are a man that feels like you don't have that space, I hope and pray that in some shape, form, or capacity, you find that space where you can share that and you can get the help or support that you need. So that's my spotlight, gentlemen. Anything else? All hearts and minds clear? Any comments, concerns, questions?
I do have one problem.
Yes, sir.
although, and I salute your spotlight, and I understand the importance of it. But my problem is he was gone for 117 days, and nobody knew where he was. Nothing. If you gone for 2 days from your job, no call, no show.
Oh, they're looking for you.
No, they're not. They're looking for your replacement.
They didn't call the temp agency at least.
They've posted your job. So as a congressman, there's no job abandonment, and it's not to minimize
No.
his reason. Like there should.
I'm
be
wondering, did they actually know? Did anyone actually know?
There's only but so much. Like you can say he's out on leave for medical,
Right.
and that does not delve into any of his business. But it was moments where people were actually going to his office asking about his presence, asking his co-workers and counterparts about his presence, and nobody had a response. Like, there's a level of responsibility to say, I'm on leave of absence.
Yeah.
Right.
Whatever you're like, I'm not asking to say, tell us your business, but you're gone from a very important role, no votes for 117 days. And that's, Manny, what's their working calendar days?
Oh, it's like 100 some odd, something like that.
That's my only gripe. Like, it's not an issue with why he was gone, and taking care of himself by all means. But there needs to be something to where he's not a staffer. I guess that's my thing. Like, if he was a staffer where they're important, but you're not a
critical
voting party. Yeah, critical.
Yeah.
Yes, essential work where you're not a voting party in Congress and nobody can answer to it. Like, it all the hoopla that went over, because there was so many theories and different things out there about what has happened to him and why he's been MIA. This DC, we've seen the articles and the stories of people ending up missing and getting found in the Potomac. And so, like, that's my only thing. Like, let's have some, and you owe it to your constituents to that. I'm out on leave. And like I said, you don't owe it to them to tell them why you're going on leave. And like I said, medical leave is sufficient enough to say you're out, but you're 117 days gone and nobody can answer to, where you at, what's going on, haven't been seen. Somebody knew.
That's my feeling. Somebody knew, and hopefully you put your out of office on. Why you gone?
Don't seem like it. Don't seem like it, because it blew up to something, and then once it blows up to something, there are groups that's on watch.
They got time,
and they got time, and they're on watch, and they, day number X, and Representative King is missing, and nobody knows where he is. What? How?
Yeah, I think that level definitely, the management of it.
Yes, that's the perfect way to say it. The management of it.
The management of it was not well.
Yes,
and maybe that blame could be put on him as well with his staffers, because who you got on your team that can't handle and say he's on medical leave?
Yes,
that is sufficient enough. You don't have to tell us why you on medical leave.
Yep.
Just say you're on medical leave. Now, Tom, I will definitely say that you didn't handle this well, but I can tell you a way that you can handle it worse. You better make sure you're there for the next 117 days. You better not take no vacation. I know some of us are, but you better not take no vacation now. while grace is afforded. Don't abuse it.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But certainly, yes. In that frame, Chuck, you're exactly right. And to our listeners, if you are out there struggling, it doesn't have to just be men. While men definitely do struggle, and uh, certainly that spotlight was highlighting that for anyone struggling, because I think that we live in a society where there are so many people struggling with so many things when it comes to not just whatever depression may be catered to, but it could be from affordability. It could come from your livelihood. It could be coming just trying to navigate through this world and this society. If you need help, don't ever feel like, no matter what anyone may tell you, that you are less than because you're not okay. If you need help, please seek the help that you need in whatever shape, form, or fashion you can. If it's a phone call, if it's professional, if it's spiritual, whatever means to help you to become a better version of you. And remember, it's a journey. It's not a step by step. It's not that, okay, I don't feel well. Whew, I'm glad I got that off my chest. I feel better now. It's gradual. So give yourself that grace as well, and understand that some days are going to be better than others, but certainly get the support and the help that you need if you do need it. So, brothers, are we good? All hearts and minds clear?
Get over here.
Hey
All
man,
right.
I'm just in anticipation of the rest of the World Cup. It's lit. It's lit.
Yes, sir.
Team USA, by the time you hear this, will be prepping to play on Monday night, and with Florin Balogun being eligible
He
to
back,
play,
baby. He bite.
he bite. So
I just want you to know, Chuck, on social media, they already calling for corruption, bro.
already. It's like
They already floating.
I seen a reporter for the Premier League, and he was like, "There's no transparency in this, and it just doesn't sit right."
Yeah.
The Belgian Football Federation is like, "This is not right. We're trying to see." Guess what?
Hey, bro.
This
This is America.
I was about to say this is like pretty privilege. Oh well.
Hey, bro. As the clip says, if corruption is going on, I'm not involved.
I'm not
But
involved.
if corruption is is going on, I defend it. I'm defending this corruption. I'm defending this.
We are all hypocrites at some point. I am defending this
Hey, I'm defending this
in
corruption.
the utmost.
Yep. To our listeners, man, first of all, like, share, follow, subscribe, do the work, share, reach one, bring them to the podcast. As we tell you, we got wings and we got drinks in the back. Make yourself at home. Bring a friend, and share the word, man. Hey, we're just here at Partner Politics, just having a good time. We're just three men just developing under the microscope, just trying to do our thing. So if you could help us out in any way, just support, share. It don't cost a thing to show someone Partner Politics. If you enjoy it, bring a friend along. So we hope that this episode finds you in the best space possible. But if not, just know, as always, the boys here at the pod, we love you. We appreciate you as always. And we will see you at the next episode. So to our listeners, see you then. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.